Good morning. I am responsible for the work package 1 of the project roadmap. Within this project that is dedicated to a more prudent use of antimicrobials in livestock production in Europe, I'm responsible of the work package 1, which is dedicated to the analysis of the use of antimicrobials in European farms and to the policy of the sectors, and also to an analysis of the food supply chain and how it is influenced by the use of antimicrobials in livestock production, farm production. I'm also responsible of the activities of a project in Italy, and in particular for the living labs that we dedicated to the pig and poultry sectors, and for our case studies that are in the same sectors. So in the last decade, the European Union and its member states have dedicated quite a lot of energy to this issue of AMR, and so two strategies has been put in place, two action plans actually. The first in 2011 and the second in 2017. And these action plans were inspired to One Health approach. So, this is an approach that is very appropriate for this kind of issue, because antimicrobial resistance is largely caused by the use of antibiotics in human cares, but also in animal farming. And so the part dedicated to animal farming was also quite intensive, and new legislation has put in place, and also a systematic monitoring, and all member states have understood that it is important to increase awareness in the stakeholders and to monitor this phenomenon. One of our deliverables was dedicated to the quantification of the use, and what we found is that in all countries the use of antibiotics has been in farming has been reduced importantly, and especially in some countries that were the largest users, like for example my country, in Italy. And in Italy we had very good results in the poultry sector, for example, which reduced the use more than 90%. And now globally there is also at the global level a strategy of the World Health Organization, and that is working jointly with the FAO and the World Organization of Animal Health, and more recently also with the United Nations Program for Environment. And so also at the global level, there is a recording of reduction on the use of antibiotics that is for a big part related to the successful of the European policy. In Europe, the reduction has been globally of 43% along the last 10 years. And the major problem persists in in the pig sector in some countries. For example, in Italy, most of the problem now is in the pig sector. In some countries, especially in the north, in the countries that are the most advanced in the reduction of antibiotics, for example, in Sweden, Denmark also addressed the problem in the first decade of the year 2000, and despite the large the large presence of pig farming in the country has reduced a lot the use of antibiotics. So in those countries, maybe the problem now is that it is not considered a priority any longer in some for many stakeholders, because they say that they already did a lot of this, so there are now major problems. For example, energy, the cost of energy, the cost of inputs, and the market of the, especially the pig sector, the market is not good at all. The main learnings and a very interesting aspect of this experience was the contact with the stakeholders, especially through the Living Lab that we organized in Italy. And we had the opportunity to be in contact with all the category of professionals involved in this problem. From not only farmers, big integrators, so the industry, the poultry industry, the pig industry, but also the veterinarians and also the public health sector. And I was really surprised that for the engagement that also private stakeholders, especially the producer, had in this issue. What I observed is really a willingness to contribute to this solution for this problem of antimicrobial resistance, and a big effort to reduce the use of antibiotics, especially in the poultry sector, for example. In the pig sector, the situation for my country is more difficult. But for the poultry sector, for example, they accepted to be subject to a sort of examination from the FAO. They applied. They have an instrument tool for the analysis of policies. So they analyzed the policy of the national plan for the poultry sector in Italy and its implementation, and they accepted this confrontation with the FAO, and they accepted that the sector could be deeply examined by FAO experts. And it was the first time that the FAO used this tool for an analysis of one single sector. Normally they use it for a country level analysis, so for the whole farming sectors. And also in the big sector, I said that where the situation is more difficult because of the type of farming, and but also in this sector, what I saw was a big effort to improve, and we hope that in the future things will improve a lot. In this sector, in my country, a big problem is the fragmentation of the production. So we have a lot of small individual farmers that are independent, are not integrated, or are And so at this level, it's more difficult to have a policy that starting from inputs coming from consumers, and impose a different level of quality concerning the antibiotic use for the whole supply chains and also to the production sector. This was what happened in the poultry sector. That is much more concentrated. And so when the industry decided to reduce the use of antibiotics, the action was much more effective. In the pig sector, because of fragmentation, this is more difficult. But in the future, a lot of old farm will change. We have a lot of old farmers, so when these people will go to, will be retired, so we will have new entrepreneurs, and I think that the sector will progress a lot. And also with the new legislation, now we have a monitoring that is comparable to those of Northern European countries. So now the use of antibiotics is strictly monitored. So in the coming year, I think that the things could progress.